Hi everyone, I'm here today with a 12 by 12 double page layout. This is one of the layouts that I'm kind of infamous for. It's got a lot going on. There are a lot of embellishments, there are a lot of different die cuts from different Cricut cartridges. So let's just go ahead and get started. The paper that I'm using is from the K & Company Sweet Nectar collection. I've used this many times before. It's my favorite spring and summer collection. I just love like the bright colors and the patterns. So I have two pieces here. I cut them down 11.5 inches by 11.5 inches, and I inked the edges. I have two border strips. They're cut down at 11.5 inches by 1 inch, and then I've used my Fiskars apron lace border punch to create a border. And I'm going to add it on the edge of each of my pieces of designer paper. And these border pieces I did not ink because I just wanted them to be a little bit more fresh and crisp. Just going to line them up flush. I have a little bit of ink overhang right there, so I'm just going to take my scissors and trim that off. And it looks like I forgot to cut this one down entirely, so I'm just going to trim that off. Okay. And then I'm just going to adhere these to my 12 by 12 cardstock, craft cardstock background. And I'm going to line it up flush to the edge so that my designer paper meets in the middle. I'm going to try to line these up really carefully so that my designer paper lines up. Next, I have two pieces of green pattern paper. They are cut down 4.5 inches by 11.5 inches, and I've inked the edges. And they're going to go right on the bottom of our paper, and this is going to act like our grass. We're just going to line it up right in the corner. Now I have two grass cuts, and they're kind of more like hills. And these were cut from the Everyday Paper Dolls cartridge, and they were cut at 2.35 inches, and I flipped one of them. And I'm going to add them right on top of my grass. And I'm going to line them up flush to this side. It's not going to reach all the way over, but that's okay. I'll make it work. Now I'm going to put together my photo mats. I'm going to have two 4x4 photos and then one 4x6 photo mat. And so I'm going to adhere my designer paper to white cardstock and then adhere that to craft cardstock. And that's just cut up by 1/4 of an inch on each piece. Now that I have my photo mats, I can start placing all of my die cuts and then figure out where I want everything and then start adhering it down. My first die cut is this gazebo. It's cut from the freshly picked cartridge, and I cut it at 7 3/4 of an inch, so it's really big. I have the shadow for it, and then I have the gazebo popped up on foam. That way when I put it together, it'll have more dimension. So that's going to go on the side. I have a tree that I cut from the Serenade cartridge. I have it popped up on foam, so I wanted it to come right to the edge, but I wouldn't have been able to trim it down with my trimmer while it's popped up on foam, so I trimmed it first and then placed it on the foam. That way I can have a clean edge to it. Because if I try to cut it with my scissors, it doesn't always work, so I prefer to cut it with the trimmer because it's just a little more clean. Next I have this wheelbarrow. It's cut from the freshly picked cartridge. My tree was cut at 7.5 inches, and this was cut at 2.5 inches. And I used my Cuttlebug Distress Stripes embossing folder to give it some texture. I have a Sunshine. This is cut from the Mickey and Friends cartridge, and it was cut at 2.5 inches. Next I have some clouds. They were cut from the same Mickey and Friends cartridge. They were embossed with my Cuttlebug Swiss Dots embossing folder, and I've cut 5 of them. The largest one is cut at 1.5 inches. The medium-sized ones were cut at 1¼ inch, and then the small ones were cut at 1 inch. And some of them are popped up on foam and some of them aren't, because I want to layer them around to give it more dimension, so I haven't figured out where I'm going to put those yet. I have a banner. This was cut from the straight from the Nest cartridge. It's also embossed with the same Swiss Dots folder. And then the letters are cut from the Kate's ABCs cartridge. They're cut at 1 inch. And it spells out happy. So I'm going to kind of string it across my page. And these are popped up on foam. So I'm just going to kind of place it, see where I want it, and then I'll glue it down. You just want to make sure that it gets completely on the edges of your craft cardstock, so that way it will fit inside your protective sleeve when you go to put it in your album. And I kind of just want to go edge to edge with it. I'm going to slide my tree under there. Next I have these tile shapes that I created. The scallop frame is from the Elegant Edges cartridge, and I used my gypsy because it's not a perfect square. So I skewed it to make it even on each side, so they're each 2 3/4 on each side. And then this rounded circle is from the Cricut Essentials cartridge. It's one of the cartridges that's preloaded onto the Cricut Expression 2, but if you don't have that one, I'm sure there's another rounded square somewhere on one of the cartridges, or you could just cut a regular square and use like a corner tool to round those off. So I have 6 of them, and they're also embossed with the Swiss Dots Cuttlebug folder. And I'm going to lay them out on the bottom of my page. These will be adhered flat. And then, let's see, I have some letters that were again cut from the Kate's ABCs cartridge, and these were cut at 1 1/4 inch, and it's going to spell out the word spring. And these are popped up on foam. And then I have this. This is cut from the Freshly Picked cartridge. It's actually from one of the flower pots. It's like the leaves that overhang the flower pot, but I cut it just by itself. And that's going to go in my wheelbarrow for just to have some foliage. Then I have some extra flowers that I cut from my gazebo cut. I added extra flowers to the gazebo, and then I cut a few more to be able to place on my wheelbarrow. Then I also have some photo corners. These were cut from straight from the Nest cartridge, and they were cut at 2 3/4. They have like a little butterfly detail. And then I took my white gel pen and I faux stitched around the inside, and then I did a little faux stitching on my tree in my other wheelbarrow. So I'm just going to place those like this. These are popped up on foam, so we're going to adhere them like on the edge, and you'll still be able to slide a photo underneath. So I'm going to figure out where I want my clouds now. Okay, and that all looks good to me, so I'm going to start by adhering my photo mats first. Now I'm just going to put my little flowers on my logo. And finally, I have this Viva Pearl pen in white, and I'm going to use it to add some flower centers. And that is our finished 12 by 12 double page layout. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and I will see you guys soon. Have a great day.